Rifleman. Starring Chuck Connors.
Hello YouTube, this is BUB'S Comics coming at you with a quick comic haul. Thank you for joining me on this. I've got a huge Grail to show off my 2019 want list. Super excited about that. First I'll show these two books I have in the background, my X-Men 14, and which of course later on Canny, but X-Men 14 and House of Secrets 92. These were two other books on my 2019 want list that I've obviously already struck off. Happy to have those. Up first we have 3D Heroes #1. This is something of a one-shot. It looks like Barry Windsor Smith art there, but it's not. And the interior is 3D. I love those 3D books. You know, I know that they're kind of goofy and novelty, and some of them are way better than others. This one's okay. When you're looking at it through the glasses, it's a little hard to look at. Some of them are amazing and really jump out of the page, and then some of them are more just kind of gimmicky, but just pretty cool. Kind of reminds me of a Conan kind of scene, and he's battling the monster, so I like that. Next we've got a couple from childhood here. These were Instagram pickups, this one as well. We have Muppet Babies #1. I loved that show when I was a kid. I ain't scared to say it. There you go. I don't know if I was a little too old to be watching it, but I liked the Muppets when I was a kid, and this was the only really cartoon of the Muppets, so it had to do. So I enjoyed this, and it was fun and goofy, and you know, all about imagination, and it was a good time. So I had a killer theme song. Next we got Heathcliff #1. If you remember Heathcliff, you'll remember these are all Marvel Star brands, by the way. So those come in pretty nice. In great condition. Heathcliff #1. Picked all these up for $1 so far, and this one each. If you remember Garfield, of course, you know, he was kind of lazy, and you know, he didn't do a whole lot as far as being active. You know, it was kind of the story just revolved around him, and he was providing commentary. But Heathcliff was a little punk. You know, he ran around. He was like that kid in the neighborhood that, as a parent anyway, he's like that kid in the neighborhood. You see him riding their bike past your yard, and you're like, that kid's up to no good. I mean, I don't even know where they're going, but you can just tell they're up to no good. And this is kind of like, you know, that kid in the neighborhood Heathcliff was. He was always up to no good and devious and almost just downright evil in the things that he did and the schemes that he pulled, and very selfish and self-centered and everything. But it made for good TV. It was funny. Next we've got Godzilla #3. So, you know, these Godzilla comics, they kind of just, I think they just took body parts of monsters and slapped them all together to make a monster. Because this thing doesn't even make any sense at all. It's got an eyeball right on top of it. Looks like metal teeth, and then a claw for a hand and no feet. Just like tentacle tails or something. It's just goofy looking. But Godzilla looks pretty tough. Kind of a more dinosaur-y look to Godzilla there. Nice. And yeah, I was just remembering that when I was a kid, you know, I grew up in the city, and I used to walk along handrails. There were always like rails going up and down steps, and then, you know, sometimes across buildings there'd be rails. And they were like rounded pipe, you know, and I used to walk along them, keeping my balance. And then I remember one time I slipped and I came straight down, and that is what I look like. I mean, it was perfect. I fell right down. Now, luckily, I didn't do any permanent damage, and you know, I missed all the most vital parts. But man, it scared the crap out of me, and it hurt. And a big old bruise on my thigh felt like a year. Hurt like the dickens, and that's the face I made. And if I could have spit fire, I believe I would have. So there you go, Godzilla #13. Next we have, this is an odd book. So it's Dr. Fate, and it says first issue special #9. But don't be fooled by the title. If you're looking to pick these up, actually, the title of this book is First Issue Special. And this is number 9 in the series. So, to the untrained eye, you would think that it was Dr. Fate number 9 or first issue, maybe Dr. Fate number 1. But it's not. The First Issue Special series was a series DC ran to retell some of the origin stories of the characters that they had. So that's pretty much it. It's kind of a reprint / retelling, and then maybe it would have a little bit of new material in there. But for the most part, it was to reintroduce you to the characters that they were running at that time. All right, y'all. Last, here comes the Grail. This is a book that I said I was on my 2019 want list. That's 3 down, 1 to go. And very happy to have it. Did not expect to get it this early in the year, although I've been hunting it real hard. Harder than any other book that I've had. It's just I couldn't find it at a price I was happy with. And then I finally did. So here we have The Rifleman, number 10. Just an awesome book. If you guys haven't seen The Rifleman or never watched this show, I'll give you the quick rundown. It is my favorite Western serial show. You can keep Bonanza, you can keep all those. This was the one for me. The Rifleman is black and white, which I like too. It helps it keep its age and look. But you got Lucas McCain, his son Mark McCain, and the sheriff was named Micah. And if you know those 3 guys, you can step into any episode anytime and watch it. You don't have to have a whole lot of continuity. There's a lot of action, violence, people are getting shot. There's drama, and there's tons of morality. Like when you watch this show, you really get soaked in all the good morals. Lucas McCain, played by Chuck Connors, who was a superstar in his own right. He was a professional basketball player, professional baseball player. Pretty sure he was a veteran as well. Just an all-American badass, and huge. He was super tall, like 6'6" or 6'7" or something. Just a huge, towering guy. And this cover gets a lot of attention because it's called the log cover, and they say it's kind of risque or whatever, or inappropriate. I'll give you inappropriate, but I won't give you risque. And the reason is that it's a father and son, and if you ever watch the show, so the kid's picking up the logs, and the dad's kind of sauntering up and acting like, hey, look at this. But really, if you have a kid or you've ever been a kid with a father, you've probably been on one or the other end of this joke before. I know I have. That's funny stuff. You have a good time. Your dad played that joke on you, and you're going to play that joke on your kid someday too. So that's kind of how it is. Just funny stuff. And he's laughing and looking at the kid, and the kid's looking back up like, yeah, I know what you're doing. This old joke again. Every time I pick up a log. So anyway, great stuff. Never argue with a man in a corduroy shirt. That's what I say. And the way he worked that 1892 Winchester big loop rifle, I think it was a 40-44. It's just absolutely fantastic. And he would do the Hollywood cock that John Wayne kind of made famous. And also he would do rapid fire motion on it because he had a screw in it that would automatically hit the trigger every time he cocked the gun. So he would reload it, and then as soon as he brought the lever action back, it would hit the trigger and fire. And so he was a very quick shot with the rifle, and he didn't carry a gun. He only carried a rifle. He didn't have a pistol. He only had a rifle. So pretty cool show if you're into Westerns. Even if you're not, if you just want to see something really cool, watch an episode of The Rifleman. Fantastic television, great morals, great show, great action, great acting, all around perfect show. So there you go. That's the main reason why I wanted this book. When I first looked into collecting books and I saw that there was a Rifleman comic, I was like, oh, that's awesome. I want all those. And then when I found out that there was one that was this expensive, I was like, nope, I'm out. So I was able to kind of find this one at a real good rate. It has its issues, but there are no issues that I'm not worried about right now. It is a book I'll upgrade someday, but for right now, that cover is so perfect. I'm so happy with that. It's a way higher grade cover than I expected to get for the money that I was putting out. So very, very happy with this book. It's in decent shape. But, you know, definitely going to upgrade it someday. But to start off, this is going to make me really happy for a long time. I can already tell. So, all right, y'all. Well, thanks for going on this little journey with me. Again, if you haven't watched The Rifleman, usually I tell you to read a comic at the end of every video. But this time I'm going to tell you watch a TV show. Watch The Rifleman. It's great. And when you get done, read the comic. Thanks. Bye.